What are F1's tyre rules? Do you know how an F1 tyre is made, what gives it its grip, and what all the different colours mean? Here's our insider's guide to F1 tyres. Let's start with the obvious. What types of tyres are there, and what do the different colours mean? F1 has 5 different types of slick tyre, each of which uses a different compound, from the hardest C1 to the softest C5. There's also 2 rain tyres, intermediates, also known as inters, and full wets. Pirelli selects 3 of the 5 compounds for each race weekend, based on what's most suited to the track surface and likely temperatures. Then they're colour-coded using tyre wall markings: white for hardest, yellow for medium, and red for soft. Intermediates are green and wets are blue. Why are there multiple types? And why use softer or harder tyres? Let's start with the hard C1 tyres. Harder tyres provide less friction between the rubber and the track, but are more resistant to degradation too. They're good for abrasive surfaces or hot tracks, and can handle more abuse than other tyre types. Then there's the soft C5s. These are the best for twistier tracks and high performance where grip is vital. They're super sticky thanks to the softer material, but degrade faster and don't last as many laps as harder tyres. In between these we have C2, C3 and C4, completing the gradient from soft to hard rubber compounds. Picking the right tyre type is a balance between durability and speed. So, who makes F1's tyres? Pirelli has been the only manufacturer of F1 tyres since 2011, standardising tyres across the teams. But it hasn't always been a one-make show. There were 5 manufacturers in the 1950s, and there's been a total of 9 since F1 began. When Pirelli arrived as the sole supplier, they were asked to make tyres that couldn't last a full race, forcing more pit stops and less predictable racing. What are F1 tyres made of? As an overview, tyres consist of 4 main parts: the bead, carcass, belt, and tread. The bead is the innermost part. It's thick, inflexible, and grips to the wheel rim. The carcass is the main outer part, with a flexible sidewall and durable surface. The belt wraps around this to make it all rigid, and that's covered with the tread compound, a ½ centimetre of thick, grippy rubber. Once fitted to the wheels, the tyres are filled with a nitrogen gas to keep them more stable in varying temperatures compared to other gases. What about the size? How big are F1 tyres? And what do they weigh? F1 cars have run on 13-inch rims for years. With the tyres fitted, that makes a total diameter of 26.4 inches. The fronts are 30.5 centimetres wide, whereas the rears are a bit wider at 40.5 centimetres. The inters and full wets are 5 cm and 10 cm wider, respectively. A single front tyre, excluding the rim, weighs 9.5 kilograms, and a rear tyre comes in at 11.5 kilograms. For context, that's about the same weight as your average corgi for each tyre. From 2022, that all changes though. The rims will be 18-inch with lower profile tyres, making a total diameter of 28.3 inches. In theory, they'll be more responsive to changes of direction. So why don't dry F1 tyres have any tread? Taking a step back, on an F1 tyre, rubber meets the road at the contact patch, and the bigger that is, the more grip a driver gets. The tread patterns on a road car tyre are designed to move water out the way, but F1 tyres are not like that. They don't need to work in all weathers, so on slicks, they ditch the grooves to maximise the amount of rubber on the road. Slicks first appeared in F1 in 1971, but grooves made a comeback in 1998 when the FIA wanted to reduce mechanical grip and slow cars down. They did the job, but were scrapped in favour of slicks again in 2009. The 2 types of rain tyre are designed to cope with different amounts of surface water. Inters have a shallow tread that shifts 30 litres of water per second, whereas full wets have deeper grooves that remove 85 litres per second. The compounds are different too, and while inters can keep going as the track dries out, full wets would quickly overheat on a dry track. Now, before we get into how teams use their tyres, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this series, Party Poker, who currently have a special sign-up offer. If you head over to the link in the description, open a new account and deposit £10 or more today, Party Poker will match it on deposits up to £400 and give you £40 worth of free play too. Only available if you are 18 or over, T&Cs apply, and please be gamble aware and play responsibly. Right, back to tyres. So what tyres do teams get to use? Teams get multiple sets of different tyre types to use each weekend, and tyre use is strictly monitored with a digital tagging system. At the start of each race, Pirelli provides all the tyres to the FIA, which then hands them out to the teams. Each team gets 13 sets of dries, 2 hard, 3 medium and 8 soft, along with 4 sets of intermediates and 3 full wets. An extra set of inters is handed out if it's wet practice. Teams return sets after each session and must hold back a fresh set of softs in case they make it into Q3. If they do, they must hand that set or another back after the session. Drivers that qualify in the top 10 must start on the tyre they used in the second part of qualifying, but those outside can start on any tyre they want. In the race, each car must use at least 2 different compounds, but if it rains, they switch to inters or wets and don't have to change again if they don't want to. What about tyre blankets? Why do teams use them, and how do they work? Going out on cold, slick tyres is no fun for any driver. The colder the tyre, the less malleable the rubber is, and therefore, the less grip a driver has. Heated blankets are used to keep them close to racing temperatures when they are stacked in the garage. When a stack needs to be moved, it's put on a trolley and powered up using colour-coded leads and dedicated temperature monitors. Each tyre blanket costs around £1,500, with trolley units coming in at around £5,000. They cost a pretty penny, but they're worth the cost once the lights go out. Are there any running restrictions on F1 tyres? Short answer, yes. Long answer, before the race, each car is given a set of specific starting parameters, which are all individually defined by Pirelli using each team's own data. These dictate the maximum tyre pressures, the tyre blanket temperatures, and the camber angle the team can run on that particular car. Once out on track, pressures and temperatures change with conditions, but there is no way of monitoring this. Lower tyre pressures give more grip in the right operating temperature window, so teams are always looking to exploit that. From 2022 though, the new tyres will include a standard sensor that will be controlled by the FIA to fully monitor running pressures at all times, in the hope that failures can be stopped before they occur, making races safer for everyone. Overall, tyres may look like fancy rubber rings, but they're a complicated, integral part of an F1 car, and with so many choices to be made for every race and strategy option, it's a factor that can make all the difference.